Hi, welcome back to Tracking Networth for Yappy. Starting off with some live updates. So I guess like the big news is that Widow is coming back. So this is like the woman I was kind of dating, not dating before. But I don't really know what's going on with this, but she's coming back to Netherlands. Actually, she'll like probably live here with me as well. But we'll have to see what happens. Well, the nice thing about her is that we kept chatting, so maybe there is something there. Maybe not. I don't know. But we keep sending shitposts to each other, which is, clearly a sign of romance. I don't know. But okay, so professionally, I started applying for real now, even though I think this project could be fine actually. So there's just like a lot of uncertainty. I joined like a sales call today, so there was like some other sales guy that did most of the talking, but I was there like as technical help and just like see what their feedback was. Supposedly like the data science should join, but I joined instead because he was having some personal issues, so I was there. Yeah, so this like giant client, which would instantly make this project profitable. They tell that this deal is, imminent. They're building prisons and they want to track where everything is going with whatever system we're building, like the logistics systems it's called. So they tell that the deal is imminent, but they just don't know when. They say like somewhere in February, and I don't know for sure because like other people actually have to essentially they have to put a signature and then it's done. That hasn't happened yet. Aside this prison deal, there's this other guy that's doing like something called lean manufacturing, which essentially involves just increasing productivity of factories. One of the factories he's been in charge of is just so bad that like if they just keep on working a bit more, then they probably already have like a productivity increase. But our technology is also like a natural like benefit to him, and he got like really excited about the technology. So I just asked him like, okay, do you think that this technology can be used in general for lean manufacturing? He was like, yeah, you can build like yachts and you can just apply the same product. So it may be like a really good fit for that. I think that's a really good sign that the project we're working on could be used in something we didn't expect it to be used for. But I'll tell the sales guy to investigate this more. Yeah, so in general, I don't really know what's happening with this project. They're like, okay, so that's one of the reasons I stick so long for it. Like, there's something here, okay? Like, everyone is seeing that there's something here. We just, like, don't really know what or when, but there's something here, definitely. People get excited about it. Yeah, I'm just, like, doing this application still just to sort of like cover my ass just in case, you don't never know. But I also like to make more money, and if you look at like the job market out there, so the international market, so US jobs for example in programming, which I almost surely can get, like the people that are having these jobs that are getting paid like 300 to like $500,000 a year, they're essentially like similar skill to me. So I have no doubt that I can essentially just compete for these jobs and win. There's like no doubt in my mind I can do that. So there's like, I'm getting these 11K a month compensation packages currently, but I'm quite confident I could like double this at least, and I wouldn't be out of a market or something. I would still have like people that would be interested in working with me, because yeah, on my own I just dragged this entire project out of the mud. So I'm confident that more people would be interested in. Well, I would be confident there will be more people in similar kind of shitty situations, and they would, open wallets. But I just have to find them, and put some effort in. And it's just like currently it's cheap talk, but I'm gonna try at least, A lot of things have been happening in Aruba. Like there's a lot of stuff that went broke, and we'll see that actually in the numbers. I'll talk about it more then because I made a comment about that. But aside stuff breaking, which you kind of can expect in a rental, some of the stuff breaking, it's just been I essentially got screwed over. The pool people, they gave me shitty hardware, but hey ho. Okay, so let's go to the numbers then. The income, I again had some client work for the chicken factory, and this time they had backups that broke, and again it took me like an hour to fix, so I just charged them like 250 euros plus taxes is 300 income. And then we got like the expenses, which is just various beeps and bobs. I think I paid the accountants as well, which is the biggest part of it. Total we got like 300 euros in bookkeeping costs, but that's fine. Withdrawals is just paying myself money, which is the minimum. And then we end up with a gross profit of around 7,000 euros, which is good. And then you deduct the taxes, which I haven't paid yet, but we should take that into account to get our net profit of around 6,000 euros. Okay, cool. So moving on to business assets liabilities. So I decided to reduce the amount of money on N26 to around 200 euros, and various stuff got paid from that. And that's just because there's no need to keep that much money on it. So, and I moved to Yappy Software. I got some money as well from the other place, and I haven't like booked it out to private yet. Then you got a checking account from savings. That's currently at 110 because that's for the account. And I probably should increase this instead of 300 to like 400 by default. But so this went down a bit because I moved a bunch of money into my private account instead, because this bank pays a bad interest rate. And they're actually really greedy, this ING bank. But for this tax structure I have, I don't have a lot of choices in banks. You know, it's just Netherlands, and we only have so many choices in banks, and the accountant also has to deal with it. So they don't want me to, go into the European bank market and find the best bank. No, they want to have like a Dutch bank that knows this tax structure. And yeah, so there's like just not a lot of choice in banks, and they are extremely greedy. So I cannot be as creative with my banking as I used to be. Like, this bank is free, right? And 26. This bank is charging me money per transaction, and also just to have the account open. So comparatively, this is just like, drastically more expensive than N26. But I have to do it like this because the bookkeeper needs to have that information, which is fine. And then, we got the Interactive Brokers account. Apparently, I got some rubles now. I tried converting them to euros, but it didn't want to do that. Apparently, they actually do give dividends. I thought they didn't. So this is probably like a lot lower than 13,000 because it's like Russian stocks, and some of it is like oil stocks. And Ukraine has been applying some sanctions to the oil companies, which essentially means blowing up the oil companies and the refineries. So, you would expect some write-offs on their balance sheets. Yeah, so this is not 30,000. It's like 5,000. And I cannot even like withdraw any of this money. So it's you could also say it's zero. So this is actually 18,000. So, this is like retirement money, essentially. I need to bring this up to 100,000 eventually, but there you go. And this is cash, which I withdrew. And I'm essentially borrowing it from my company to myself. I'm doing that because that is, again, tax efficient, and we're gonna use the borrowed money to pay down some of these more aggressive loans we have later on. Okay, so with all that in mind, we end up with shareholder equity of 67,000, and we have still the deferred income tax, which is just calculated automatically for me. So we probably have to pay this eventually. Okay, so cool. Then we go to the private income and expenses, and you'll see that this month has been good and bad. Okay, first of all, the private income, it's just a normal income. We can set this ourselves, and we set it on a low amount because now we actually have the 12% tax rate, which we so desperately want, and that's because of all the BV shenanigans we did. I think it's a bit lower, even it's like 11% or something, but yeah, I'll just put it to something. The Airbnb income is good, really good actually. So we got 2,600 from Airbnb directly, and then we got another 1,900 from VRBO. So it's like 4,500 again, and that's because January is the high season in Aruba. So December and January people want to like escape winter for a couple of weeks, and it's actually a really good idea because in January and December it's gray and cold, and you just want to get out. And just going away for 2 weeks is awesome, and yeah, I can understand why people want to pay for that, but there you go. Okay, the manager cost is 866, and that's just for next month, so February. Again, February is also a really good month. And then running costs went down a lot, and this is more normal running cost actually. And I also made sure that the running cost stuff is being split out from other expenses. And we had a lot of other expenses actually. Yeah, it's half. All right, so the other thing is the living expenses, which is also quite low. I'm not sure why. Well, I have just not bought anything large this month, so that's good. And also there's like 200 euros on credit card. I did buy some clothes. And yeah, finally like the debt payments. So we have this every month, and these are way too high. So we're dealing with that, and we're actually dealing that probably this month. I did the calculations, and I probably have enough money to pay down one of the contracts. Okay, so other expenses. This is the stuff that broke in Aruba. The first thing I did is like I forgot to pay Konar for installing septic tank pump. So they had to like create a bigger hole into the septic tank, which is where all the sewage water goes into. There's no sewage in Aruba for some reason, and yeah, we use the septic tanks. And there's like a pump in it now, so we can reduce the expenses. There's also a new furnace. The old furnace broke, and now we bought a new one. Finally, the pool pump also broke. So the filter broke and the pump broke. These are two new parts of the pool. So this pool is 1.5 years old and both of these things already broke. So you can see that the company that was actually doing these stuff, installing this stuff for me, was just like a bad company. And I'm not doing any more business with them ever. We end up losing around 800 euros despite, being quite disciplined with living expenses. And that's mostly because of the other expenses. And we even got the running costs quite low. Yeah, we're still like technically losing money. Look, the bank accounts aren't going that much lower because we haven't paid the income taxes yet. But you actually see it in the bank accounts as well. The net income is quite high, so that's good. But yeah, we're just like, privately we're not making enough money. And that should be a lot better. Imagine adding 750 euros to all of these numbers every month. That's what's going to happen after we pay down one of the debts. So that should be a lot better. Okay, so moving on to assets and liabilities. We're in the 30th. So I recorded all the numbers yesterday, and now I'm recording the video, which is a day later. ING checking account was like 5,000 euros. So actually I sent 222 euros over to the Aruban account because this is way too low now. And it's a bit unfortunate because if you look at the currency, then the exchange rate is not good at all to send money over to Aruba. No, I get like 1,490, so it's like 10% cheaper. Anyway, if you can see what I mean with the savings, like we're quite close to getting to the required amount to pay down one of these loans. This is all loaned money from the company, mostly loaned money from the company actually. Some of it is private. And you can also see that the equity has been ballooned, but so the loan is also tracked in here. It's actually here, it's the Yappie Holding bond. So we have a loan of 18,000 euros. And then we got like the savings here, and this is actually 3% interest rate, which is pretty good in Europe at least. It's actually amazing in Europe. It's the same as the banks get, so you don't really get that on bank accounts aside if you like really start looking. And I found the one bank that does this, which is called Trade Republic. Okay, so we got the equity, which is going up again because the bond also has value. Even though we're loaning money from the holding, we have to pay it back eventually. So technically, the amount of value of the company is still increasing. Okay, so the pension stuff, we got the stock market has recovered a little bit. It's no longer below 6,000, and the euro to dollar is still the dollar is really strong essentially. I don't know how long it will last though. Yeah, currently the dollar is really strong. Okay, so share supersede is going down a little bit, and it's just currency bullshit. The house, it's the same value yet. I was hoping actually this would be updated to the new value this month, because then I would, technically reach 500,000 when I'm still 32 years old. I'm like, my birthday is in 10 days, so. But it doesn't really matter actually, it's just a number. Like, if it's 500,000 or 490,000, you're doing great either way. I'm not gonna sweat over 10,000. I'll let you know how high it is, but may actually be 485,000, and that will be quite embarrassing, if you're not even in the 490,000 club. What will you do in your life? Yeah. Yeah, this is crazy, man. In my wildest dreams, I wouldn't have imagined having so much net worth. Becoming more interested in this stuff helps a lot, I guess. But yeah, so the house is still at this rate. It's probably like closer to 320, 330, maybe 350 with the low interest rates we're getting now. So yeah, like the low interest rates are quite nice because it drives up the value of assets, and this point we have quite a few assets, but it's also a bit sad because we get like less interest every month on this account. So yeah, it was like 4% 4 months ago, but yeah, or like 6 months ago, maybe even. Now it's 3%. It'll be lowered again to 2.75%. That makes me a little bit sad, but yeah, once we pay off the debt, we're essentially getting 5% on it instead of 3%. So okay, so student debts. This is still. Oh, actually, so what happened is that the government. Apparently I'm part of the generation with bad luck for studying, and part of my studies I've not gotten a grant that you get if you're studying and you're Dutch in the Netherlands, so it's like 100 euros a month or something. So they decided to pay out apparently like 400 euros to compensate me for that. But they didn't send that money to my bank account. No, they subtracted it from my existing debts. That's actually quite sad because, you know, if we use the 400 euros to pay down my 5% debt, then we are essentially are getting like a tenfold increase in the return of money. But no, they subtracted this from this debt. But, you know, the government people don't understand this kind of stuff. But I'm still grateful that they did that. And I shouldn't complain about it because they're essentially like we're lowering my student debt to lower than it has ever been. So that's nice. Okay, so deferred income tax, we're just increasing that by 1750 per month. This will like go up to, because we end up having to pay around 20,000 this year for income tax alone, and next year it should be like 10,000. So that's good. But we still have to like increase this every month until like July, and we'll do like the normal 1,000 per month. Okay, deferred dividend tax. So this has been starting to increase by quite a lot now because our shareholder equity has crossed the magical 67,000 mark, and we're now getting taxed at 33% instead of 25%. So this yeah, we're like for the money we're keeping in our business, this number is gonna go up a lot. But that's fine. We cannot do like a lot about that, unless we're like start paying our dividend, then this would go down again. But we don't want to do that because we don't want to pay tax essentially ever, never. So this is completely fine. Okay, so deferred pension, yeah, it went up because, you know, we have more money in a pension account. That's fine as well. The ING mortgage hasn't been paid this month yet because I'm recording this video a little bit too early. Because, you know, we're always coming back and I don't want to record these videos once he's here. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I mean. This is at 3,750 the mortgage, and we currently have saved up around 30,000. So if we would send out 7,000 euros from, so we get like the 3,000 payment anyway, 3,500 payment anyway for like private stuff, and then we also get like, you know, 7,000 just profit, like around 6,000 profit. Actually, how much is it? Usually it's around 6,000. This is just net profit. So combined this withdrawal with 6,000, you end up with like 10k, of which we have to actually use quite a bit to just like run the, you know, run my life. So living expenses and stuff like that. But running costs is also like, you know, 1,000, 2,000. So you end up with 8,000, right? We have to pay her as well. So 7,000, and then you get like the Airbnb returns, which is around 3,000. So you're back to 10,000 again. Yeah, so we would have like an excess for next month of around 10,000. So you would say we can actually pay back the loan in one go, and because we have like an excess of 10,000, we loan more money from the BV, so like 6,000 from the BV, and then you know, the calculation we just made. 30,000 saved plus 10,000 is more than this amount we have to pay back, 3,700. So we can do it in one go. And I'll just like call my father and say that I want to pay it back in one go. And he'll be like, I want to have interest. And I'm like, yeah, just like buy a stock, man. Buy a stock. Don't squeeze your son. That's bad. Morally bad thing to do. Warmtefonds. This is the heating fund. Which essentially I use to insulate this entire house. Pay anything out of pocket, I use this, you know, government kind of thing to insulate the house. And it's a 0% loan for some reason. So yeah, we're just slowly paying this back. It's gonna take me another... I got an overview of them actually at the end of the year. How much I wasn't quite on top. Like I think I was like 20 euros wrong, but I'm close enough. And it's gonna take another 14 years to pay this back. So yeah, that's not a nice loan to have. I love these kind of loans, 0%, it's great. And this is my 18,000 euros I borrowed from my company. I don't actually know if it's gonna be 0%. It has to be market efficient, apparently. So you have to like, you know, have a similar loan to what you can get from the financial market. And they're just gonna set it to some amount. I don't know. Actually, they make me sign a contract to do this. I probably can look it up there how much it is. But yeah, I would expect it to not be like a lot higher than 5%. And if it's 5%, that's still fine because what's happening is that the interest rate, we are paying it back to my own company, And then the company may have to pay, profit tax on that, which is like 19%, so 20%. Okay, so suppose this is 5% loan, then actually the real amount of money that's being disappeared from profit is 20% of 5%, which is 1%. So we're actually like having a 1% loan, which I'm completely fine with, to have just hold on forever, right? Because 1% is lower than 2%. It's lower than the inflation rate, which is fine. And furthermore, there's like an additional benefit is that we keep it like this. Means the BV like blows up in size, and my actual, like, according to the tax system, my net worth is lower than that. We're not actually doing this shareholder equity thing in according to the tax system. This is not part of your net worth. This is part of your another box. Like it's being taxed based on another like section. So they will not do this what I'm doing here. They have like a different way of doing accounting, which is fine. You can do whatever you want with your accounting. But meaning that the money we borrow from that is not part of my wealth and will be subtracted from my overall wealth, which is like a good thing to do because we have a wealth tax in Netherlands. So yeah, okay, so that's 218 euros on the credit card, which we pay off every month. So this will come back next month in our expenses actually. Anyway, we have a total amount of assets of 800,000, 795,947. And then we also have like a total liabilities of 321,587 and 20 cents. Meaning that our net worth is in fact not even in the cool club of 485,000, but no, we are just a sad apparition of 474,360 euros and 50 cents. So yeah, like according to these numbers, we only went up by like 5,000, which, I mean, going up by 5,000 euros in a month, I think it's a lot of money. But yeah, we've been just doing so well in the last couple of months that these are crazy. But these are like per quarter, so it's not really fair. Even though, 50,000 per quarter is still like so much money, man. Jesus Christ. I'm grateful for going up by 5,000. Like, I'm not complaining, man. And I'm also not complaining that I'm not half a millionaire. It's probably going to be next month. I don't know what they would put the WOZ value at, but yeah, it's going to be higher. Okay, something other interesting is because we're doing these shenanigans with borrowing money from the business, the liabilities are going up again. So they haven't gone up a lot in the last couple of months, which is actually a good thing you want to see. But both the assets and the liabilities are going up because we are borrowing money from the business, and then we're getting on the other side of the borrowing, we're getting like the liability of that. 20,000 up in assets. No, actually that makes no sense. But they both went up 20,000. So the real increase is from just like profit and whatever. But the assets went up with 20,000 and the liabilities went up with 20,000 because we have to. And we do like that creative accounting with the tax stuff, but creative accounting. It's essentially like, because we're building it up like this, we're just dealing with how do you explain this? This is something we have to pay back. But so in a Dutch tax structure, what you can do is you can request and pay your taxes every month. But it's like a service provided by the tax service, and you don't have to do this. You can also just do the bulk payment. I've chosen to do the bulk payments because I like to not pay taxes and put it on my bank account and just look at it. But a lot of people don't have the discipline to actually like put it on the bank account and look at it. So they prefer to have this service. I am one of those like odd people that likes to do the bookkeeping and keep track of everything. So that's why I'm doing this. And I also have the bit of certainty that, having a 14,000 euro bank account that I can have some kind of emergency, even though I also have my 6 months emergency fund. I just like to have the money at hand, just in case. You never know. Like, crazy stuff can happen, and if you have the money available, it's according to me, it's a lot better. And the only reason I can do that is because I have the discipline. And I'm also harvesting a little bit of interest on this, but that's like, you're not gonna do. Okay, maybe I did do this originally for the interest harvesting, But it's like a bit of an insane argument because on the absolute value, it's like, it's gonna be 3%. So how much is 3%? It's gonna be 400 euros per year. So, in an absolute value, you're making 35 euros a month. This is not gonna make you rich, okay? Like, it's mathematically a little bit better. But the additional certainty of just having like a large cash pile on hand, that's the real benefit here. Which we can use to pay down the 5% debt. And then we're making even better return. And we actually will be using like that. Because the project is going well, I'm confident enough to do this. I may get bidden for that because, say I pay it back in February and the deals will be cancelled in March, then in fact my savings account looks a little bit shallow, right? I would rather have this debt on hand and having the money in my bank account then at that point. But because I could coast out a long time with that money on bank account, but yeah, let's not jinx it. Okay, so let's look at the quick numbers. So the debt ratio has been gone up a little bit again, and that's because we've been taking out more debt from ourselves. But yeah, okay, so quick cash has gone up a lot because the money has been subtracted from the BV and put into our own private pockets. Liquid assets, I think these are just being calculated a bit strange because I mean I was allowed to do this anyway. There's like a limit to how much you can borrow from your BV. It's like 250,000 euros, which I think is a lot of money, but yeah, it's good that I can do that. Okay, so the mortgages are going down a little bit because I'm paying back my father, and those actually have been subtracted, but the ING loan hasn't been. It's only 400 euros though, so that's fine. Like the down payment is like 400 euros. It's like 100 euros interest. How much do I own of the house? So that's going down a little bit. I guess I just combine the two or something. I don't know. Net worth without house. So that's like, we have a net worth and we just subtract the value of the house and we keep the liabilities. So we keep the mortgage intact. We got the ING mortgage. So I think what people do is they will also remove the mortgage, but I'm not doing that because it's still something I have to pay, even though I just live in my house and just don't use it to any financial shenanigans. Actually, I'm kind of using it for my house for financial shenanigans. Oh, actually, it's this one. I don't know what this one is. House owned. We should delete this comment. Yeah, so the financial shenanigans, I'm just doing a house hacking essentially, but that's not a... I'll probably stop doing that when Vero is here anyway, because then we can like live privately, but hey ho. Okay, high yield debt is slowly turning down, and this should be, 35,000 euros lower next month once we pay it off, or 37,000 euros lower even. Yeah, we'll end up with just this one, which would be good, and then this number would go down drastically, and that would be so good. It seems kind of hard to believe, but I've been actually looking forward to paying that down. I've been looking at this number for so long at this point. Here, this was such a concerning. I remember being quite stressed. It's too bad I didn't actually record the videos at this time, but having this number, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. Paying down that 37,000, oh my god, I would feel like so zen. Yeah. I feel well satisfied with myself, actually, yes. Okay, so this is something I have not told, but I actually changed jobs because the income from the other job was just too low. And I brought this up to the manager and he was like, okay, we're not going to increase your income. We cannot do this right now, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I started applying, and then, 2 months later or something, I was gone. I was quite urgent back then, and I was quite far with a couple of interviews, but, random shit happens. Okay, so let's look to our overview. So, the first financial goal is to be financial independent. We're still trying to do that. Therefore, putting money in retirement accounts is still useful. So we actually haven't put any money in retirement accounts. We did put it in our BV. We did put it in the stock market, but it's not a retirement account, it's the BV, and it's more flexible, I guess. And we don't invest in gold, so that's fine. We don't invest in crypto because that's insane. Trying to reduce fixed cost is continuing goal. So, paying off those debt payments would be a massive reduction in fixed costs. So it's something completely aligned with our goal, and we want to do that. Yes, so I still agree with this. We think that's good. Okay, lean fire progress. So we're paying off the 5% debt. This is gonna be a massive jump next month. If everything goes well, we may get random shit again, but I'd like to point out that, so we have a nice graph of our net worth right here. Oh, actually you can see it No, my face is in the way, man. Jesus. Just put it like this. Okay, great. It's slowly climbing up to 500,000 euros. It's not dollars, but yeah, there you go. Okay, so we have these pie charts, which is fine. So one interesting thing that will happen is that the pie chart for cash will drop down drastically as well, because we know we're going to use a lot of cash to like wipe out debt, and the equities and the real estate shares will increase. So currently it's being pushed out. We can make another one actually. Okay, yeah, you can see it increase. So it's 7.9% now in cash. So you know we used to have 5.4%, and it's just slowly increasing. Well, what I expect is to happen is that cash to drop to like 2% or something, because we just move such a large portion of it. So we have 60,000 in cash right now. That will be like halved essentially. So we would end up with 3.5% cash, and the shares and the real estate would grow proportionally to that. Oh, the other thing is that the real estate probably would also grow, because so the shares would maybe also shrink as a proportion of my net worth, because the real estate of this house will be increased by, I think it's by like 20,000 or something, because they're lagging behind a year. So this is the measurement of 2023. They're going to use the measurement of 1 January 2024. Which is still like a year behind of the current measurements. I think currently it's around 350,000 maybe, but yeah, we'll see. Oh yeah, so one more thing I want to mention is that in the business assets and liabilities, we actually have these 18,000 emergency fund. So we have like a big, actually it's this one, 17,000 emergency fund, which is essentially 6 months of just money lying around. In case my contracts suddenly get terminated, I have 6 months of just like money to just like live on normally. I can still keep paying out myself and just do my obligations. 6 months, and that like should be enough time to find another job. Like usually it takes like a month just to go through interview process. But if I mean it takes like a month to find like a company, and then it takes like another month to go through the entire process of interviews. I've not been like in the beginning of this month. I've not been actively applying, but now I've like ramped up a little bit. But yeah, applying is not a fun process. And essentially, if you're doing it with a full-time job, it takes like a lot longer, because you're just gonna apply to one company maybe a week. If you're fired, like if the contract suddenly gets terminated, you well, first you're gonna like take a break for a couple of days, but then after you're gonna like really apply, right? Yeah, you will do like one a day maybe, or 2 a day, and that's just like it's really taxing to do. That's what this money is for, just the panic money, and we'll keep that. We won't touch that unless something like that happens. But I am fine with with the assets and liabilities from here. Technically this is the savings account is like another private emergency fund. I'm completely fine with just blowing that up and paying off the debt. Essentially, when there's like no emergency in sight, yeah, I'm fine with doing that. Which one? Oh, this one. Yeah, we'll just blow this up. I have no savings for a bit. That's fine. We'll start building up the savings quickly again, so that's fine. And the project is still doing fine-ish. And maybe I should wait a month. I don't know. You'll see next month what will happen. I think I'm fine with just blowing this up and wiping out the debt. That would be good. So yeah, please leave a like, subscribe, buy the merch. There's no merch, but you can buy it. I really enjoy if people leave comments, so leave a comment if you have any suggestions, or if you just want to talk, give your life story. I'm fine with it, Suggest other YouTube channels, I would also love that. If you have anything, just please say so. And thanks for watching, everyone. Okay, see you all next video. Bye.